Sullivan College Principal from the Australian College of Professionals here today, and I'm sitting here with Peter Lynch, who is the National Client Relationship Manager for Real Estate from Aon. And we're going to talk about a very interesting and very, scary topic at the moment, which is cybersecurity and how we can look at some of the risk management strategies around that from an insurance perspective. So Aon have been dealing in insurance services in the real estate industry for well over 40 years. And now Peter's been part of that for well over 30 years, so probably didn't want me to say.
No, I didn't really. Anyway, thank you.
But anyway, I'm here talking with someone who actually knows that link between real estate and insurance and some of what those protections and the risk mitigation processes that we can actually get into. Because Peter, we're hearing on a daily basis, unfortunately, some really scary war stories about cybersecurity. And the fact that that myth that many real estate agents believe that they're not a target. And unfortunately, the more and more we keep watching this and hearing the stories, the large number of real estate agents that are actually being affected by cyber attacks. And, obviously we can talk about that, and, everybody's reading and talking a lot about it at the moment, but we want to look at it from that insurance and protection.
Yeah, look, it's so true, Rosy. There is a lot of talk about cyber, and look, any number of conferences I've spoken to and training events in the last 12 months, there's always somebody puts their hand up in the room and says it's happened to me. But there is still a percentage of agents that believe that's going to be the guy down the road and it's not going to be me. And I often have asked me, well, why are we a target? Why isn't financial institutions? Well, the reality, of course, as we all know, is that how much private information as a real estate agent, particularly those with a large rent roll, are holding, your license details, passport details, bank account details. And of course, there's a large amount of money that's held in trust. That's a huge target. And
it's sitting there waiting.
Just sitting there waiting. The other thing is that the real estate industry, probably no different from a lot of other industries, is very mobile user reliant. They've got a lot of staff now that work remotely, which then, that brings up a whole lot of other issues. But the other thing is too, and I stress this in no matter what cyber talk I give, is the ultimate importance of training, and there still seems to be a lack of education in the real estate industry. And I encourage, principals that, whether it be a sales meeting or a property management meeting or just a general meeting in the office, to bring in this education, and we can talk a bit more about that before we finish the video today.
Absolutely. The question we get asked all of the time in training and from experienced agents, and particularly from business owners, is about, but I've got my professional indemnity insurance. And is there an extension to that? Or I saw the word cyber in there, surely we're covered. So in terms of that, what is considered standard in a cyber policy? Or,
Look, I think that the thing is, it's an old saying, which is a good one, that the devil's always in the detail.
Indeed.
And look, there are a number of professional indemnity policies out there that grant a cyber extension. And look, they cover a little bit, but I think if you've got a trust account, which the majority of our clients do have, I think you're really safe at looking at a standalone cyber insurance. And this is something, it's not something that's going to be a pull off the shelf. It is good to talk to your insurance broker or your own insurer and talk about your own individual needs, because it's going to look at your turnover. Maybe you don't have a trust account. Maybe there's a different option there for you. But don't just look at your professional indemnity and think you're covered as an extension. And there's also a very small belief by some agents that their professional indemnity insurance is going to cover it. Now, they might cover some small sections of breach of the Privacy Act, but they're certainly not going to cover the major exposures of a standalone cyber policy.
Yeah, it's scary. And we've been hearing about this for quite a few years. I can remember going off to a number of seminars a few years ago for real estate seminars, and I was listening to one of your team talk about cyber. And every session I went to, there was somebody in that session who'd been hit in some way. And this is 4 or 5 years ago. And I came back, and I don't hold a trust account. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a training college. First thing I did was went and got, some standalone cyber insurance, just because, like all insurances, it's the what ifs.
Yeah.
So, but obviously there's some huge training component here about, I know I, as a business, talk to our staff all the time about what you're opening, what you're looking for, what type of documents you're looking at. And I think there's a whole training component around there of actually knowing what's going on
Exactly
from
right.
that cyber perspective. So, how does Aon look at all of that?
Well, like I say, it's more about where the insurance broker is, what the insurers are looking at, and look, the cyber insurers are obviously getting hit very heavily with claims, not just in real estate, industry-wide, as you can well imagine. And their requirements now, some of the conditions to get cyber insurance now, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they were a nice thing to have. Now they're saying you must have them. If I use probably a bad analogy, it's like in the old days, with house insurance, did you have locks and doors and back-to-base
Yes.
alarms? Now it's almost compulsory to consider it. And it's the same now with cyber insurance. They're asking, are you doing holding training on phishing and cyber inserts into your business? Are you actually training your staff? Are you using multi-factor verification? In other words, are you using a second source to verify when you transfer money? Do you put a warning out to your clients that they are not to change account details or do anything like that unless first ringing your office? So in writing, warning your clients. This is going to be part of it. So as an owner of the business, when you do take out cyber insurance, also discuss with your provider the conditions that go with that policy to make certain it's fit for purpose.
And I mean, even in New South Wales in particular, there's part of the legislation or the supervision guidelines comes down to having communication channels. And it is about fraud prevention and getting identification. So some of it's legislative, but then there's all the good practices that come along. And then obviously then what links into, will you actually get a payout if you've done all of these things from an insurance perspective?
Exactly right.
So I guess what we're seeing is with the increase in cyber and obviously the artificial intelligence bots who are now creeping through websites and doing the cyber on behalf of, I guess, lazy fraudsters.
Yeah.
They're using, artificial intelligence now to do that. There seems to be an increase in policies, the actual, the premiums that people are paying for cyber
premiums
insurance.
are going up and excesses are going up and the ability to get them, the conditions on the policy are increasing. So I mean, I really encourage business owners, there's the training, but work very closely with your IT provider. Make certain that you're updating your whitelisting. In other words, your applications, make certain that they're the safe, trusted applications you're using. Make certain you're using and updating patching on those. Make certain your operating system is updated all the time, and as I said, the multi-factor verifications. And also in some cases you want to look within your business and restricting access privileges for certain staff. So there's a whole wide range of it, and I hate to say it, but as I said at the very start, we revert back to this education piece. Education and training of your staff is so important, and that's the way you're going to minimise your risk.
And a good dose of common sense.
A very big dose of common sense, and if it all sounds too good, it is.
Yeah, that's exactly right, isn't it? So it's so many people are just so hurt about how could they possibly get in, how could they possibly steal, identities or money or whatever it is they're doing. But it's happening, and it's happening on a daily basis.
But there's no organisation that's immune to hack the FBI, they've hacked all sorts.
They are scary war stories.
Yeah, and it is certainly, and more and more too. Look, government's looking at responsibilities of directors to make certain that their accounts, that their business is cyber safe. So there's a lot more responsibility going to come down legislatively into the future. Yeah,
and again, for New South Wales real estate agents, it's one of our topics this year in our mandatory or our compulsory CPD training. So it's one that we're really looking at and understanding what's going on.
Yep.
And actually on the college's YouTube channel, we've got 4 short videos that our external IT providers has actually put together on what you should be looking for in your businesses. So, and they've put a bit of a real estate focus on that. So guys, this video will be available on our website, through our socials, on our YouTube channel. And Peter, I would love for us to be able to get together and keep talking about
We'll
cyber.
have to do a follow-up, Rosie. Thank you for the invitation.
I know you're sunny Queensland based, but next time we might be doing it on Zoom as opposed to sitting together in our boardroom.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't get lunch if I did that.
No, you wouldn't. Guys, good luck. Make sure you're looking after your businesses. Make sure that you are paying attention to what all these cyber security issues are now. It's a new angle. It is about education. It is about talking to your insurer, and we need you to stay safe from that technology and cyber perspective. So guys, we will see you in training. Have a great day.
Thanks, Rosie.
Thanks, Peter.